Hello YouTube, and hello Fearless 2005. I'm not feeling well today, so I apologize for my voice. I really should have not went to YouTube today, but then you wouldn't have this video. I am responding to Fearless and the video he contrived entitled The Atheist, God's Delusional Adversary. I would encourage all my subscribers to give it a listen. It's nothing original, it's nothing you haven't heard before. If you are an atheist and if you are a Christian or you practice another religion, I'm sure it's nothing that is foreign to you. But it is worth hearing the vile nature and the despicable position that is presented as truth, and to sense the hatred that drips from this man's mouth and impregnates your mind with all of this tainted bullshit. Fearless, the purpose of this video is to address your ideas. You are mainly an afterthought that may yield credence due to your personal bias. You are entitled to your thoughts, ideas, and beliefs. I would not even think of attempting to persuade you. This is for those who are still undecided and may be influenced by your emotional reasoning. I would be the first to admit that the position of the unbeliever or the position of unbelief does not automatically produce a rational, enlightened person. I would also say that investment in Christianity does produce an irrational worldview, and such belief systems like Christianity can greatly affect many areas of one's life. Obviously, I disagree wholeheartedly with the entirety of your video. I am an anti-theist, and I would have absolutely no difficulty acknowledging the Christian God's existence if it could be proven. Using a manual written by men does not provide such proof. It does reinforce your outlook. I immediately noticed the tone of hostility present at the very opening of your video. The ad hominem and the mislabeling, what purpose did it serve? Is it entertainment? What qualifications do you have to diagnose another, Fearless? After all, you did label all atheists as being insane. If no qualification exists, then your assessment is strictly opinion. With that pushed to the side, the question you posed was poorly worded, the first one, but I think I understand your point. Many atheists I know do not accept belief. This is why some endure a laborious process in determining the validity of the Christian God's existence. It is merely a rejection of faith and truth claims. Even if your God existed, some would not worship him, myself included. This is not due to Lucifer's influence or because there is a lack of internal motivation to determine what is right and what is wrong. It is based on the contents of your holy book. If your God exists, then great. I would accept tangible evidence, and then the mystery would finally be resolved. If you had such proof, indeed, I'm sure you would be a wealthy man. So, get to it. However, God is noted as being infinitely wise. This assertion yields the question, why has he not provided proof of his existence? Will you have to use the Bible to answer, Fearless? Will you direct me to faith? Why should anyone be willing to give allegiance to a supernatural phenomenon which only is experienced through subjective experience? It is funny that many Christians will regurgitate that atheists exist because they do not want rules. Indeed, this may be true of certain people that call themselves atheists. I have not witnessed a rational atheist to take this stance in opposition to just laws established by man. I would think that this would immediately nullify your claim. Some non-believers do not see the benefit in submitting to a God. You see, your identity is well integrated into your belief. Religion to me is an idea which does not define me. Maybe this is why you provide the same trite, nonsensical babble. What would be the purpose in being purposefully misleading, Fearless? Does not your God look down upon a liar? If I remember Psalms chapter 101, verse 7, he that worketh deceit shall not dwell within my house. He that telleth lies shall not tarry in my sight. Think about it, Fearless. The next predictable turn was your comment regarding that atheists have been hurt by someone in the church. This is to insinuate that they reacted to a catalyst and they simply arrived at their position from a poor experience. This may have functioned as a catalyst for certain individuals. However, it allowed them to question the integrity of those who cling to take Jesus as a model, but had failed miserably at modeling the supposed virtues of Jesus. Why insist that an outside source would have so much influence over another? Could it be you are accepting this model established by religion, and so you attempt to slot others into your worldview? Or are you basing your perception of things on presuppositions or assumptions, either unconsciously or consciously? Many times, atheists focus on Christianity because they are influenced by lawmakers, educators, and other professionals that subscribe to Christianity. Those that focus and funnel all or most of what they do through this subjective mind map. Many things can be said about other religions. I do not have a preference in picking out fallacies and stupidity among belief systems, nor do I have a favorite. To me, truth is important, not establishing some feel-good jollies in order to assert my supposed superiority over other individuals. It would be arrogant to assume Christianity is the only influential religion in the world. You attempted to make an interesting point regarding the use of science by atheists and how they received their data. It was blatantly obvious you were slinging mud, but to no avail. The scientific method is a tool for anyone to use when attempting to examine and produce solutions to certain problems or questions. It is the obligation of the individual to understand the information provided if they are going to use it within conversation or debate. I have not witnessed this same ethical stance with people who practice religion. On average, that is. Many times they are clueless about the content of their holy books. Atheists understand that they have or can obtain the ability to deduce certain scientific information. Normally, you will not find an atheist willing to accept truth claims from scientists any more than they would be willing to accept it from a religious individual. Also, one does not have to produce experiments or papers to benefit from such knowledge. You benefit every day from science. You claim that none of the atheists have read a book. Now that is laughable. If anything, many atheists I have met or associated with have proven to be the most well-read bunch of people I have ever encountered. They do not, however, take information at face value. This would be no different than what you do. When you made this statement, I'm sure you were caught in a web of your own deception and your own spin. I definitely would not yield to a God even if the existence of one was proven. Look, the Abrahamic God even ardently supports the morally reprehensible use of the negation of freedom, or slavery. I refer you to look at Leviticus chapter 25. This fiction, this thought police, this sky daddy permitted the Israelites to take and keep slaves. His supposed creation was subjected to torment as long as they came from neighboring tribes and not from their own people. This is the straight dope. Hardly a sterling example of love and freedom, huh? Now, how is it that you can worship a God that has favored slavery, war, and a list of other atrocities as long as it benefited him? As a black man, it pains me to say that many black people I have encountered are willfully ignorant of this fact. Slavery indeed has a legacy that is still felt today in certain blacks. Obviously, you embrace this vile religion that was passed to you via your ancestral master, assuming you are a descendant of slaves. I am not stating it would have been better if you had embraced Islam or paganism because you are black. How can you embrace a belief system saturated in bigotry, incest, and mythology boggles my mind. The average slave owner was reported to be in favor of keeping the slave in a powerless state. A good way of doing that was by prohibiting the slave to read or to learn how to read. Maybe the indoctrination of biblical fallacies generated a stage of ignorance that allowed the slaves to take refuge in being docile and mentally numb. Is this what you are modeling today, Fearless? My only conclusion is that many blacks who practice religion are in love with giving away their personal power and relish being monitored by the thought police. I would love to leave the believers alone, and I do. I believe it is their right to practice the freedom of religion as they see fit, as long as it does not bring harm to another. This does not mean I find it impossible to forge meaningful relationships with them. I do, and I value those who can keep their beliefs and worldviews to themselves as I do, when appropriate, that is. It is when religion no longer takes delight in exercising power strictly over its followers that it demands my attention. It is when your theism attempts to curtail the non-believer's freedom with bullshit decrees that legitimately makes me infuriated. It is when the religious practitioners do not acknowledge the presence of others with dissenting views as humans that sickens me and demands that I speak out. It is when the believers behave like pushers and forcefully attempt to convert me, to give me that fix so I can cleanse myself from the fictional sin that makes me want to puke. It is because of sinister, atrocious, mindless zombies like yourself who proclaim that atheists are not human because they do not suck the cosmic dick of your God that makes me want to hurl. I will leave you with these words. Religion is the ultimate slavery. It is the slavery of the mind. Belief does not demand one to search for answers. Functioning as a skeptic encourages one to question. It was not God that brought light to the cave. It was man who stood upon his feet and met the light with his will. Beware not to become a prisoner of your preconceptions. Truth matters. It is not fearless to tread the path of the many. Thank you for your time.